Cancer is the abnormal and uncontrolled growth of cells with the potential to spread or invade the other parts of the body. And this is called what? Mutation. Where does mutation happens? In the genes. There is the DNA mutation, okay? And cancer can be anywhere in the part of your what? Of your body. All right, there are two types of cancer, the benign and the malignant. The benign, this is not it doesn't cause cancer. Only in very rare cases, if it's not treated, can lead to a malignant cancer. And the second one is malignant, which is cancerous and can spread to the different parts of the body. So let's talk about statistics. Just this year alone, it is estimated that more than 1,900,000 new cases will be diagnosed. Imagine that. And that means more than 609,000 will die of cancer. In a daily basis, that means new cases, 5,250, that's a lot, and deaths will be 1,670. That's a lot. That's a staggering statistics. And they are categorized in different cancers, but it's hard to read them. So that means 1 in 3 people in the United States will have cancer or will be diagnosed with cancer. So before we talk further, let's discuss the normal cell growth. The first the normal cell division, if you see the cell, the one in pink, and it has the DNA inside, it multiplies, it doubles, right? And it's the same size, the same cell. Then it doubles again. One is normal, and the other one features a cell damage. That is the mutation. And when it matures, it dies. That's how a cell, that's what you call the cell death, which is the normal process of the cell when they leave. But if there is cell damage, if you look at the green one, where's my pointer here? Pastor? Oh, I don't have a pointer? Okay. If you look at the cancer cell division at the bottom, the one in green circle, the DNA is in the middle, it's in red. That's the DNA that's beginning to have abnormal growth. And then the second one is the second mutation, the third and the fourth, and then it multiplies very rapidly and uncontrollably. That's how the cell, that's the difference between a normal cell division and the cancer cell division. So this is a good illustration. First, the normal cell, it doubled, and then it doubled, and then multiple double, and then malignant cancer. So this is another illustration invading the surrounding tissue. The one in enlarged, it shows you cancer cells invading the other tissues or organs that's close to the primary site. So what are the risks for cancer? This is very important part. There are many risks for cancer. Number one is lifestyle habits. That includes your diet, exposure to cancer-causing agents. And the third is what? The genes that you inherited. So when it comes to lifestyle habits, the number one is cancer, and the number one on the list is saturated fats from meat, and especially the method of cooking. When the meat is being cooked, there are two types of chemical compounds that are formed. It's called the heterocyclic amines and the polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. Are chemicals formed when muscle meat, including beef, pork, fish, and poultry is cooked using high-temperature methods such as pan frying and grilling. In the laboratory experiments, HCA and PAH have been found to be what? Mutagenic. That is, they cause changes in your DNA that increase your risk for what? For cancer. That's according to the National Cancer Institute. And HCA and PAH is formed during cooking. The formation of these varies by meat type, cooking method, and doneness level. Rare, medium, or well done. Whatever the type of meat, as in grilling or pan frying, or that are cooked for a long time, the longer you cook it, the more HCA is formed when you're cooking your meat, your poultry, your eggs, okay? For example, a well-done grilled or barbecued chicken and steak all have higher concentration of HCA. This is research. This is National Cancer Institute. So therefore, charred meat in particular is notorious as cancer-causing food due to the alteration of chemicals and molecule structure during the process of cooking. It's no wonder in Texas there is a large number of cancer. Why? Texans love their barbecues. So we are one of the cancer belt in the southern United States. What happened when you eat this food? The HCA and the PAH become capable of damaging DNA only after they are metabolized. Meaning if you have eaten this food, they are metabolized by specific enzyme in your body, and the process is called bioactivation. And studies have found that the activity of these enzymes, which can differ among people, may be relevant to the cancer risk associated with exposure to these compounds. So think twice before you go out to the hamburger place or eat barbecues outside, okay? Next, HCA and PAH, there are proven evidence-based studies that has been done anywhere in the United States and in Europe mostly, that the consumption of this food is highly toxic to your health. Researchers have found that high consumption, especially the well-done, the fried or barbecued meats, was associated with risk of what kind of cancer? The colorectal, the pancreatic, the prostate, not to mention the breast. But in addition, it not only causes cancer, it affects your heart, your brain, your kidneys. It causes hypertension, and it causes obesity because of the high fat content. So, animal protein, dairy, fish, and eggs are very well known. Many studies has been done to cause different kinds of cancer. If you could Google Dr. Colin Campbell, he is the author of the China study. It is a very interesting book. If you read it, you will be aware, and maybe you will start eating healthy if you love to eat meat, dairies, fish. And dairies are very high in saturated fat. When you melt cheese, what's the end product? Oil, fats, okay? And not only that, it's very high in hormones. So animals are fed with hormones so that they could sell them quickly, they become fat, and it's for mass production. And the milk and the dairies, when the children eat these kinds of cheeses and drink the milk, what happens? They grow quickly. They menstruate at the age of 8 years old and 9 years old, and they are very high risk to have breast cancer later. If you heard the lecture, was it yesterday? Sister Rosie talked about that the cow's milk is intended for cows. A human being is not supposed to drink a mammal's milk because it belongs to that cow, so that the cow will grow quickly and if you see how the cow grow because of that milk, it's not only full of hormones. Cows are fed a lot of antibiotics to prevent them from dying from diseases. So when the kids menstruate early, they become sexually active early. So I know a couple of kids that got pregnant at the age of 9. So that means they cannot control the hormone surge in their bodies. Just a side note. All right, sugar. Can sugar cause cancer? If you stop eating sugar and you have cancer, the cancer shrink. Research have shown that cancer cells consume sugar or glucose than the normal cells. If they say it doesn't affect the cancer cells, I don't believe it, because studies have shown that the cancer cells eat or consume a lot of glucose in order for them to do their activities to multiply, okay? And sugar can cause obesity that can put a person at risk for cancer. So lack of fiber in the diet it is one of the reasons why we have cancer. If you remember, Sister Rosie talked about the SAD diet, the standard American diet, which is rich in fat, low in fiber, low in vegetables, low in fruits and nuts. That is what you call the SAD diet. For you to have benefits and have fiber, you need to introduce legumes or beans in your diet. Beans has a lot of benefits. It could help you reduce your risk not only for cancer, but heart disease, your glucose control, lowers high blood pressure, and it prevents also cancer. The reason being it's very rich in fiber, and what does the fiber do into your system? The fiber is like your sweeper in your gut. It helps you eliminate the toxic substance that keeps sitting in your gut system that could be toxic and circulate the toxicity in your circulation. So if you say, oh, I have gas with beans, what do? Soak your beans overnight, at least 8 hours, and put them on a low fire. And if you are very lazy or busy, you could cook a big bunch of beans and then portion them and freeze them. They're very versatile. You could use them in your soup, in your rice, or in salad. Okay? Lots of benefits. So the National Cancer Institute recently reported on 337 different studies, with all showing the same results. Vegetables and fruits protect people against different types of cancers. If consumed in large amount, in large enough quantities, it could be a good deterrent for cancer. So several studies, it's not only several studies, every institute now, every hospital now is instituting lots of vegetables and fruits in their menu. And I have last week, I guess it was last week, I have said some of you that New York hospitals have already adopted the plant-based diet in their hospitals. So lack of exercise can cause cancer too. Sitting is the new what? Smoking. Most scientists use this as their mantra. Sitting is the new smoking. Being physically active decreases risk of several cancers, like the breast cancer, like the colon cancer, endometrial cancer, because it helps eliminate the toxins and reduce fat from your intake. It is recommended that at least you be active 30 minutes a day. That doesn't mean you have to do it continuously. You could separate it in 10 minutes apart. So chronic inflammation could also lead to tumor development. Chronic inflammation may be caused by infection that don't go away, abnormal immune reaction to normal tissues, or conditions such as obesity or overweight or poor nutrition. Over time, chronic inflammation can cause what? DNA damage and lead to cancer. So this is a very busy slide, but it's very informative. The root causes and cofactor of chronic inflammation. Poor health leads to obesity and chronic inflammation. Pathogens that your body is unable to fight because you have poor immune system can lead to chronic inflammation. Nutrient deficiencies can lead to chronic inflammation. Oxidative process, immune system impairment, and tissue cells and tissue not repaired, infections, and on the right side in purple can lead to infectious diseases, cardiovascular diseases, cancer, and diabetes, and I could hardly read the other one. So alcohol intake can cause cancers, different kinds of cancers from your esophagus down to your gut. And the breast also, people who have breast cancer, mostly they are very well known to smoke and drink at the same time. You could have also cancer of the mouth, the voice box, esophagus, the liver, and is that colon? And other parts of your body. This is, I'm missing one slide. Okay, never mind, we'll jump to water. Lack of water, can it cause cancer? Lack of water intake. You saw the slide of Sister Rossi. What does water do? It helps eliminate the toxic waste in your gut. She illustrated that. And lack of water will pull out of water from your what? From your bones, from your blood, from your brain. And so it causes what? Inflammation that puts you at risk to develop all chronic kinds of diseases, okay? And actually this slide is from MD Anderson. So tobacco or smoking, does it cause cancer? Yes, it is very well known. And can you guess how many thousands chemicals are there in a cigarette? There are 5,000 chemicals that are in a cigarette that causes cancer. If you look at the slide, before smoking, the lungs look healthy and pink. But in the process of smoking, it looks like it has been barbecued, right? And it could also cause a lot of stomach cancer. Most of the people that have mouth cancer, imagine they remove your whole jaw when you have that type of cancer, and you could see everything inside. And then they get a piece of your muscle from your thigh and slap it with a graft in there. So smoking is terrible. And these are the several types of cancer that smoking can cause to an individual. From your mouth down to your pelvic area, these are the causes of cancer. And it also could cause sexual dysfunction as well. Because remember, nicotine is a what? It's a vasoconstrictor. And viruses, do you ever believe that virus can cause cancer? Yes, Epstein-Barr virus can cause cancer of the blood, nasopharyngeal cancer, hepatitis B, hepatitis C can cause liver cancer, and human papillomavirus or HPV can cause cancer of the cervix. So now the recommendation is for girls who are 15 years old to have HPV vaccine to prevent cervical cancer. And also, if people are having an unusual sexual activity like the oral sex or anal sex, most of those people will develop oral cancer and rectal cancer later. That's why they're educating the public. If you go to cdc.gov, you will see all this information. And another type is the human T-cell lymphoma, which is, it could cause cancer of the blood, which kind of inhibit the T cells are the fighter cells of the body. But if you have this kind of cancer, you don't have a means of fighting the cancer cells in your body. So environmental hazards and environmental exposure is also one of the causes of cancer. Formaldehyde, people who work in the chemical industry, most of them have very high rate of cancer. And especially if they don't follow the protocol for PPE, they said, oh, it doesn't affect me, but we have high percentage of them in the cancer hospital, especially the several compounds that are released during your work in the chemical industry. People don't mind it, but down the line later, they develop cancer. And formaldehyde, it could be found in your building materials, in adhesives, in glue, and sometimes in paint or plastics. Most of the people, they're just use of microwaving their food in plastic. That's not a good habit because it releases the carcinogenic effect into your food and then you eat it, and in the long run, you might say, why I got this? I've been eating healthy, I follow all the dietary habits, but there's a one way that probably you are missing in there. Occupational cancer, as I said, exposure to any chemicals. Oh, by the way, in the occupational cancers, we have a high percentage of beauticians and people who work in the laundromat because they're sniffing all the chemicals. They have a lot of high percentage of cancer. Huh? They are also exposed to radiation, but now there is a very strict standard in protecting the people who work in radiation department. And also people who are receiving radiation, before they receive their radiation therapy, they are being fitted with a certain, I forgot what it's called. They are fitted with a certain thing to protect the other parts of their body. So, and that's the reason why every person that works in the radiation department, if you see they have always hanging thing behind on their belt, that's to monitor the radiation effect to every individual that works in that department. And also if you see doctors, you know, in surgery, they perform a lot of x-rays. Every time they do a procedure, just like for the spine and laparoscopic surgery, they perform a lot of x-rays during the procedure. And you could see a lot of them where that, it monitors your exposure to radiation.
Actually, not only from the radiation from x-ray, but you know, we've been exposed from radiation from the sun, radiation from the telephone, radiation from the TV, radiation from the fertilizer that we use, radiation from the gasoline, you know, we pump, a lot of things. This world has been, our environment is just so filthy that really, that's why the cancer is going up again and again.
And that is very true. Their exposure to your environment is the environment that you cannot control. For yourself, in order for you not to get all these risks from the environment, is to keep yourself and immune system in a good condition. All right. Hormone replacement therapy. Have you heard that hormone replacement therapy can be good and can be bad also? Estrogens, a group of female sex hormones, are known to cause human carcinogens. They are good. It will stop your hot and cold flushes, but then they have also risk. So, for instance, taking combined menopausal hormone therapy like the estrogen and the progestin, which is a synthetic version of the female hormone progesterone, can increase women's risk for breast cancer. They're always good and bad, right? All right, according to Dr. Rao, he did an intensive study about the hormone replacement therapy. First, he was advocating it, but after his research, he found out that it's not the right way to do it. So he gave that study up because he found out there is a high risk of cancer, especially the breast, using hormone replacement therapy. So this is the familial history of cancer. I know, Sister Noella, your sister was diagnosed with a triple negative, right? So that is, there is an hereditary gene that could cause cancer, but it's only 5 to 10%. 5 to 10% of cancer are caused by harmful mutations are inherited from a person's parents. In families with an inherited cancer-causing mutation, multiple family members will often develop the same type of cancer. So when we say hereditary or familial, you could still mitigate your risk by living a healthy lifestyle habits and your diet. When it says familial, does it mean that every family will have it? Familial means if your mother is obese and eating the same food, you pass that along with your children, and they are doing the same food, the same culture, poor lifestyle habits, lack of exercise, eating the same fatty food, it passes on to your children. But if the second generation change their lifestyle habits and dietary habits, you mitigate that risk. So you can, and then your children, if you pass on that healthy habits to your children, their risk is even lesser and it might go away. So, warning signs of cancer. Number 1 is fatigue. And number 2, weight loss and gain of more 10 pounds. So unexplained, meaning you cannot find why I am losing weight, why am I gaining weight. So you should see your doctor. Eating problems, you're not feeling hungry, trouble swallowing, belly pain, or nausea and vomiting. See your doctor, that's a warning sign. Swelling or lumps anywhere in your body, lump in the breast or any part of your body, and pain that you cannot explain. So see your doctor. That might be a warning sign of cancer. And another one, skin changes. If you have it turns scaly or changes in the mole, a sore that doesn't heal, or yellowish discoloration of the skin, see your doctor. It might be a warning sign of cancer. And jaundice, you know what jaundice, it might be a symptom for pancreatic cancer or liver cancer. Because pancreatic cancer, it doesn't show unless you are at the very latest stage, and it's The symptoms is jaundice. You might have biliary obstruction already. Cough or hoarseness of voice. Might be a throat cancer or lung cancer. Unusual bleeding or bruising. Maybe you have a blood disorder. Change in bowel habits. You suspect any colon cancer. If there is blood in your stool, make sure you go for your annual screening for colonoscopy if you are at the right age. And bladder changes, any painful urination, blood in the urine, or needing to pass urine more or less often, see your doctor. Fever or night sweats. Some people may ask, why I have fever or night sweats? It's because your body is trying to fight the cancer, and sometimes it shows in the form of fever or night sweats. So headaches, vision, and hearing problems might be associated with any glioblastoma or cancer of the brain, and mouth changes such as sores, bleeding, gums, pain, or numbness. See your doctor. So early diagnosis is the key, because what? It could lead to successful treatment and increases the survival rate. So if you look the 5-year survival rate according to early detection, it depends on what stage you've been diagnosed. It will give you the percentage of your survival rate. So when it comes to screening, early detection is the key. If you are at the age of 25 to 39, cervical cancer screening at the age of 25 is highly recommended. If you are at the age of 40-49, breast, cervical, and colorectal screening. An African American should start at the age of 45 for prostate screening. For some reason, the African American have a higher percentage of prostate cancer. And at the age of 50 plus, which I'm a member of, breast, cervical, colorectal, and smoking lung cancer screening as well if they are smoker. And prostate, you have to discuss that with your doctor. So what are the treatment for cancer? There's several. Surgery, if the cancer is what you call in situ, or if it's encapsulated, it's not spread, surgery is indicated. Radiation therapy, so to kill the cancer cells through radiation. And the chemotherapy, these are poisons introduced to your body to kill the cancer cells, but sometimes it could affect the healthy cells. Immunotherapy, the immunosuppressant or immunoactivation is used as well. It's a very kind of, I see patients really not in good shape when they do that. And hormone replacement therapy, targeted therapy, and stem cells. Stem cell is like bone marrow transplantation. So in conclusion, in order to reduce your cancer risk, nutrition, lifestyle habits is the best way to reduce cancer. Only 5 to 10% causes of cancer are hereditary or familial, but you can mitigate your risk by boosting your what? Your immune system. Eat lots of fruits, vegetables, legumes, complex grains. What is complex carbohydrates? You get complex carbohydrates from what? From quinoa, from barley, from brown rice, not white rice. And beans have complex carbohydrates as well. Anything under ground root except the white potatoes. White potatoes are considered white refined. If you love potatoes, eat the red potatoes. Exercise, rest. These are included in the 8 laws of health. Sleep, water, and most of all, have a closer walk with God. So the Bible says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he will what? He will direct your path. Therefore, so whatever you do, do it or for the glory of who? For God. Why? Because your body is the temple of the living God. Right? We have to take care of the temple of God. We cannot just eat what we want to eat. We cannot just sleep 2 hours, 1 hour a night, because you cannot rejuvenate your body in that case. We cannot just eat meat and highly preserved foods. I forgot to mention, nitrites is also one of the causes of cancer. If you read the label of food, most of them have nitrites that can preserve foods, especially hot dogs, salami, all these kind of foods that are kind of ready and processed, okay? And this month is what? It's breast cancer awareness. My mantra is to keep everybody healthy so that we will be healthy when Jesus comes. Together, we can fight cancer. So with the power of prayer, together, we can fight cancer. Thank you. Question for me? Use the microphone.
What's the percentage for the breast cancer for men?
I don't have it specifically. In the previous years when I did lecture for breast cancer, it's about 5%. I don't know now. Not only women can develop cancer, men can develop cancer as well.
How about what kind of symptoms though for the men?
They have engorgement of the breast, just there's a lump.
Okay.
They have enlargement of the breast in men.
Mine is not.
You should do breast examination. So, any more questions?
So you said about the, the containers that we cook our food in the microwave, but what about the microwave itself?
The microwave, there has been conflicting studies about microwave. I remember there was an article about Hitler during the war. He stopped using microwave for his soldiers because they found out that it causes a lot of cancer among his army. So he stopped using that. But it has been a common use here in the United States, microwaving food. My theory, because there are conflicting studies. Some studies says it doesn't cause cancer. Some studies says it causes cancer. So my theory, if microwaves emits radiation, right? If it can kill microorganisms, remember the food that or meat that is or vegetables that is stored in the grocery, they kill the germs to radiation. It's like a microwave. So if it could kill microorganism, what can it do to your food? Right? That's a big question mark. So for me, it could affect the food nutrients because some food nutrients are very sensitive to heat. So you follow this. Remember Dr. Hans Diel, when he came here, he always advocate eat food as grown, meaning less processing is better because if you cook the food, it lessens the nutritional value of the food. So it's also common, people say, your body is made of living cells. Living cells need live food, and live food is whole raw food. But there are certain foods that you cannot eat raw, like the beans. You have to cook the beans. The rice, you have to cook the rice. carrots, the nutrients is more released when the carrots is steamed or cooked. Like the tomatoes, the lycopene or the ingredients in tomatoes, it's more activated when it's cooked. Good question. Anybody else? If none,
So when we eat tomatoes, we like to eat it on salads. Are we
Yes.
wasting the tomatoes? It's not doing
There-
anything
you
for our
could-
bodies?
you could still get vitamin C from the tomatoes, but it's recommended, especially the men who needs lycopene for the prostate health, it's recommended for them to eat it cooked, and especially and in the tomato paste, it has more lycopene or the ingredient for prostate health. But when you eat it raw, it also gives you vitamin C.
Broccoli, it's said that eating broccoli raw, you don't get much of the nutrients. If you steam it or cook it, you get more of it. Tell us.
I eat broccoli raw, it's better than cook. But again, if it's the way you cook it, if you overcook it, it's useless. If you just steam it instead, vegetables, you steam it instead of boiling water and put it, because the nutrients just go to the water, and the water, what do? You throw it away. So the nutrients of the vegetables, it's in the water. So what you're eating right now is less nutrients, and mostly it's the fiber.
But if it's not cooked, it doesn't do your body any good because it's not digested properly and taken off the nutrients. That's what I've learned about it.
But there is no evidence-based studies about that I have read so far.
Okay.
Anybody else? If not, thank you for listening. If you have any questions, you could email me or text me. Everybody knows my number. So, Pastor?
I'll ask this one. So there are many agents and many things around us that cause cancer.
That's true.
And so simply by trying to avoid them, we can help ourselves. But within our bodies themselves, if we have cancer, what type of environment does in what type of environment does cancer thrive?
Acidic.
An acidic environment. And we know that sugar also, cancer feeds on sugar, right?
Correct.
So if we can help the environment within our body to be less acidic and have less sugar, that will either slow or stop cancer growth, correct?
Correct.
And that's very much dependent on our diets.
Yes.
So while we can't control everything, we certainly can control that aspect of our bodies.
Anything that you put here can
Right.
help in prevention of cancer. So somebody asked, actually I forgot, somebody texted me that is drinking alkaline water helpful? Of course it helps. If you remember, Sister Rossi, she presented about the water, putting 2 tablespoons of lemon juice in 16 ounces of water. Do not put ice. It can make the water alkaline. So at home, I have a water ionizer. I drink whatever pH level I prefer. So anything that's alkaline is good for your health, because everything else that we eat, the food we cook, is acidic. Highly acidic. So making your body alkaline, it helps you mitigate the risk of cancer.
You know, I read the article during the loss of health, during the back 1800, there are less cancer, less victims of cancer because the sugar is a prescribed item. Is that an accurate thing?
I haven't heard about that, but I know during the 18th century, people live longer because there is less pesticides. They grow their own fruits and vegetables. There's less processed food. People sleep early. There's no soda. There is no alcohol, but there's cigarettes, smoking and there's no TV. Kids run around the yard and everywhere. People walk to school, and it's not like now. We are in a very conventional life, and it's killing us.
Yeah, and I agree that watching TV is not healthy at all because, of the radiation and all the news that you see is all negative,
Yeah. So we cannot control our environment, but we can, like for example, the sun gives you life. It makes the food grow. We need sunlight to prevent cancer, to prevent hypertension, to prevent insomnia. It gives you a good night's sleep. But if you abuse yourself going under the sun, it could also cause melanoma or skin cancer. So the things that you can control in your environment, do it because it's beneficial for you. Because remember, health is wealth.
I have a question. So you're talking about acidic and alkaline. I have actually read that. What kind of foods would help make your body alkaline?
Mostly vegetables is alkaline. Some people say, well, if you eat citrus, it's acidic. But actually, when you eat the citrus, it gets alkalinized in your system. Just like the people drinks vinegar. Vinegar is highly acidic, but when you drink it with water, it leads to alkalinity in your stomach. Fruits, vegetables, they are alkaline. Some beans are acidic, but you could mitigate that with your process of cooking. So, somebody texted me. I eat lots of fruits and vegetables. I eat lots of vegetables every day. How come my cholesterol is still high? I forgot to ask that yesterday. So I asked that person, how do you eat your vegetables? She said she put butter, fry or roasted and brush it with butter or oil. Of course. You don't get benefit with that. You fry the vegetables. You have to eat your vegetable food as grown, and the simplest processing is better. It is recommended that you eat 5 to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables each day. I know it's hard, but it will benefit you greatly if you do that. And also remember, Sister Rosie said yesterday that you have to eat breakfast because when you eat late, the tendency for you is to eat junk. And then you eat late, and then you just go to bed. You don't spend no much energy except pulling your blanket. Remember all the dads saying that in the morning you eat like a king, at noontime you eat like a queen, and in the evening you eat like a pauper or a beggar. So with that said, thank you for all your questions. And I hope this is the time now that we do change in our lifestyle habits and our dietary habits so that we will keep ourselves healthy while we're waiting for His soon coming. Thank you.
Need a last comment. The main thing is that, it's difficult to reboot our brain to switch to these all healthy things,
You want to be healthy?
Because, you cannot change your weight unless you change your mentation.
Of course, yes. You need a lot of changes. You need to convince yourself, I can do it. And you pray a lot, because with the power of God, we could do everything. Yes, I know your weakness is soda. Soda is well known to cause cancer, heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, kidney disease. So no more soda.
No more on stage. No looking
Well, we'd like to thank Sister Nida Dazan for her presentation on prevention of cancer and early detection. And as just a little joke, I once heard a pastor say, I never met a soda that I didn't like. And the problem was he had a history of pancreatitis, and that would inflame his pancreatitis all the time. And he finally realized that perhaps soda wasn't his best friend, even though he liked it very much. Well, thank you, Sister Nida. I want to thank you for the presentation. And one of the things I wanted to just reiterate to everybody here and online was that we know the 8 laws of health help us to live happier and healthier lives, right? But when it comes to, if we find that we're violating or we're not living up to those 8 laws of health, everything we can do to try to rectify those situations helps. So if you find yourself eating a very meat-heavy diet and you start to reduce it, that helps. Maybe you can't, the best thing to do would obviously be to go to all plant-based. We know that. Research has shown that time and time again. And it was shared right in the beginning that hospitals are starting to move toward plant-based diets because it's good for their patients and helps them heal faster. Maybe that's difficult for you, but every piece of meat that you can leave out of your diet, replacing it with plant-based helps you. If we know that in this particular case, overexposure to the sun can cause skin cancer, then we try and mitigate the amount of time we spend out in direct sunlight, or we cover up. So every time we can help correct one of those things, it works to our benefit. And so we want to remember that each and every time. Maybe it's hard to do everything all at once. The best scenario is we do everything all at once, but every step you can take in the right direction helps us be healthier and live healthier lives. So I just wanted to share that with everyone. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. Everyone that's here, thank you for joining us online. Tomorrow night we'll go again. And before we go, how about we close with a word of prayer? Father in heaven, we just thank you. We thank you again for a wonderful presentation. Father, we know that cancer is certainly on the rise. It's running rampant within our society. And we also know that there are things that cause this. And so we want to work on the causes, not just finding ways to treat symptoms. So be with us and keep us. Continue to teach us as you do each and every day. Until we see each other tomorrow, thank you. And then we ask these things in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
No soda for you. No,